the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
All right, the court notes Christopher Erickson was served January 23rd, 2025. He's not filed an answer. Stay ready to proceed with the default.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Your Honor, the state filed, in this case, a suit to modify and a suit to confirm arrears. We're going to go ahead and announce that we are not seeking a modification here. Just as a note, the mother would be the obligor in this case. We've only reached one agreement with the obligor, with the mother, which is at the mutual non-disclosure that was granted last time continue. I will now call the mother and take her testimony. Ma'am, can you state your name for the record?
Sarah R. Licky?
And ma'am, last time that we were here, you were the one who was ordered to pay child support and medical support. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And is it true that you have not made your payments?
For this last month, yes.
Is it your testimony that you've made every single payment
Yes, ma'am.
besides last month?
Yes.
Okay. And when you made these payments, is it your testimony that you paid them through the state disbursement unit, or is it your testimony that you paid them directly to the father?
It was through my paychecks. It was taken out.
It was taken out through your paychecks. Okay. And ma'am, you understand that the state is not in agreement with your testimony, that we believe you actually have some arrears that have accumulated. Is that correct? Do you understand that?
They said $480.
Okay. Ma'am, has anyone gone over the pay record with you? It's a document that has the payments you've made.
No.
Okay, I will present that now. Your Honor, may I share the screen?
Yes.
Okay, just bear with me as I open it up. All right, Your Honor, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so I will tender State's Exhibit 1, a pay record, and ask that be admitted for all purposes.
So it's a minute?
Okay, and ma'am, can you see my screen?
Yes, it's smaller, yeah.
Okay, let me see if I can make it bigger. All right, is that better?
Yes.
Okay, can you tell me whose name this is?
Mine.
Okay. And then I'm scrolling down to the end of the pay record. Can you read that amount, that date to me?
331.
Okay, and can you read that amount to me?
480.30.
Okay. And then can you read this amount to me?
541.
Okay, permission to stop sharing my screen?
Yes.
Just bear with me, Your Honor, while I get back to.
Let me ask you here just a moment, if you don't mind.
Please.
Ms. Leakey, it's a small amount of arrears. It's not I can see from your pay history you are a very good payer. So it's not about you necessarily being super delinquent like some of the people that you may have heard this morning. But there is a month or two there of gap of payment. So if it looks like your child support is like $400 or so a month. So if you missed a month, right now they say you owe $480.30. So it's just a little bit different than what your regular payment is, but maybe $80. But that's going to vary throughout the month because it's going to vary depending on how you pay. Now, first, of course, if you don't make payments at all, then that will affect how much you owe. But in your case, that's probably not the major problem. The major problem is that it depends on the month that we are at. So, you did miss a month, you admittedly, so that's where you're behind about that month or so, a little bit more than a month. Um, but like your child support's due on the first of the month. So if I look at your how much you owe or how much, let's say, you're behind on the pay record, it'll say that you're basically a month behind on the first. But we know that you're not going to pay it all on the first. You're going to probably pay it by the 30th or 31st of the month. And so then by the end of that month, you probably would have paid the full payment. So that balance is going to kind of go up and down, as you saw Miss Correa showed the pay record. It kind of goes up and down, just depending on what the part of the month that it's at. Um, so I'm not too concerned about your arrears. I mean, if you are, that's fine. I think the 480 makes sense. The 543, maybe that's, we can look at the pay record again if you want, but it just kind of boils down to you're about a month or two behind overall. Um, Not a lot of interest because you've been paying it. I think you had a zero balance just a few months ago, so there really isn't any interest here to really worry about either, because interest on $1,000 might be $50 a month. But like again, I don't think you have owed this that much because you're not owed behind until the next month. Uh, so I don't know if that's explains a little bit as to why you owe some. Of course, the payments on those, they don't need to be too high because you don't owe too much on those. But and you can also pay it off later on if you want to pay it off as a lump sum. But we got to schedule some kind of payment to pay that off in addition to the support. Does that kind of explain somewhat about the arrears, or does it help you to understand why they're saying that you owe some money?
Well, yes.
Okay. So I don't know if you want to look at the pay rate again, but do you agree that you owe the child support arrears of the 480 and 30 cents as of March 31st?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and I did see you made another payment after that. That'll still be reflected there. And then they say you owe medical support arrears of $543.05 on that pay record. That's usually the last thing gets paid. So when you pay your support, if you only pay a partial payment, child support gets paid first, medical support gets paid last. And so that number sometimes can be larger than your child support amount. Do you have any objection to confirming the arrears for medical in that amount?
Yes, I have an objection here.
Okay, why?
When I first contacted the Attorney General's office, because my daughter wasn't enrolled in any health insurance, so I had to pay some, which I understand. I was supposed to give him record that I paid within 30 days, I think, of when I had her on medical uh last year, October through December. And since I didn't give him a notification, they said that's off. It has nothing to do with it. But when I talked to the attorneys generals, they said that he hasn't had insurance on her since October 2023, and he still has yet to obtain any insurance for my daughter.
Okay, we can talk about it for the future, but you still had the order to pay the medical support. Do you understand that?
Okay.
So I can't do much to change it other than maybe change it today. I don't know if the state wants to change it today. Let's come back to that in a minute. So
Okay.
on the child support, they're saying there's really been no change in your income since the last time. They want to leave that the same number for child support. Are you okay with that?
That's fine.
And then, okay, so on the medical, I have to go back on my notes here, but you can probably tell me first, or maybe the state can tell me what, you're saying he's supposed to be carrying medical through his employer?
It was supposed to be through Medicaid, or if he
Okay.
did have insurance from from his employer.
Okay. So do you have insurance available?
No, I had to get a third party in October to because she had to go to the hospital, and it was a whole thing. So it was an emergency kind of situation. That's why I got her insurance.
Okay, so do you have insurance now?
Not on her now.
Okay.
I was giving
Your
him.
Honor,
So, I mean, what they're saying is that you don't have insurance. They don't know the father has insurance. They're wanting the father, of course, to apply for Medicaid or CHIPS or get his own insurance. And so if there isn't anything there, then I really can't change that either, unless you were telling me today I got insurance for the future for your child, then I could take you off of paying that $100 a month. Do you understand that?
but my thing is he was supposed to have insurance, but he hasn't. So why is he able to keep the $100 a month?
That money's not probably going to go to him if the child's on Medicaid. That's going to go to the state.
Well, that's what I'm saying. He was supposed to have Medicaid since October 2023, and he hasn't had any insurance at all.
But
So
that's
he's been
something
getting that 100. He's
Your
been getting
Honor,
that
if I
$100.
may,
that's something you have to address with him. Yes, Ms. Correa.
Your Honor, I would just announce that the state does not have an interest in any of the arrears. And then just remind that the father is ordered to apply for Medicaid, and if he does not get approved, that money is essentially to subsidize any costs that he may have since the child is primarily in his custody for any medical expenses. So that would be our position. If the mother doesn't have any insurance for the order to remain and for that medical support, if it's not going to be assigned for it to essentially, it would be rerouted to the father.
Yeah, so I mean that's kind of where we are, Ms. Licky. If you don't have another option, then I really can't help you with that part. He's gonna have you basically either there's like three options or I guess four options that he can choose to do. Obviously I agree with you, he needs to choose one of the four options. The options are he applies for Medicaid. They may say you don't apply, don't qualify. That's not his choice. Then they might say you do qualify for CHIPS. That's not up to him other than him applying. And the third option would be he has private insurance, which depends on his employer. And the fourth option would be he has no insurance available at all. And then he would be using this $100 a month to just kind of pay for out-of-pocket medical expenses as we go. I mean, like I said, I don't really have a lot of options here. If you don't have insurance, if you were telling me today I have insurance, and this is what it costs, then we could talk about you not paying the additional $100 a month. But that's kind of where we are. I mean, I agree with you. He should be getting something, but I don't have him here to ask, so I don't know why he hasn't. Most people do apply for Medicaid if they think they qualify for it, but I just don't know. I can't really do much about that part. Okay, so then on the arrears, I can set these payments really low or we can set them really high, whichever I'm leaving it up to you. I would say it just depends on how fast you want to pay them off. Obviously, the longer it takes you to pay them off, you'll pay a little more interest. But as long as they stay in these reasonable numbers, then it shouldn't be a big problem. I would say anywhere between $15 on the lowest for each of them, or $50 a month on each of them, depending on how fast you want to pay them off. Which do you prefer to do? Do you want to do 15 and 15 or 50 and 50 or somewhere in between?
The lower.
Okay. Okay. All right. So we're not making any changes to child support and medical support. We're confirming child support arrears at $480.30, payable at $15 a month. Medical support arrears confirmed at $543.05, payable at $15 a month. And let's see. I'll waive court cost.
Okay.
You've been a good payer. I don't want to add to that part there.
Thank you.
And then let's see what else was I thinking. Yeah, I think that's mostly about it. I mean, maybe you'll have a tax return, maybe it'll pay off this balance, and then you won't have to worry about this extra $30 a month. But if not, then you need to pay that off and just keep making your payments like you have. And if y'all need to have a discussion about what y'all would need to do for health insurance. The out-of-pocket expenses are not what I'm talking about. So if you have out-of-pocket expenses, that's separate from what I'm talking about. I'm talking about getting the children on some kind of insurance. That's something y'all need to talk about. And then if you have either one of you have unreimbursed medical expenses, you want the other party to pay half of those, then you need to give him a copy of those receipts so that he could be liable to pay those half of those costs. But if you don't send them, then you kind of eat those costs. All right, that'll be the order of the court. The Attorney General's office will put that in writing. You're done with court, Ms. Licky. You can press leave on the Zoom to exit out. Thank you.
All right, thank you.